I am 22 and this incident happened a year and a half ago. I had just moved into my first apartment and was in the process of moving in. The door that led into my apartment locks itself automatically when closed. So I was going to the entrance of the apartment complex to get my mail while talking on the phone with my boyfriend. I returned to my apartment and sat on the bed while opening the mail while using the phone. I dropped the phone on the floor and it landed under the bed, so I had to lie on the floor and stretch for it. I saw something that caught my eye. There was someone under my bed. My eyes widened and I choked the urge to scream. The person under my bed was lying still with his back towards me and his head to his chest, so I couldn't see his face. And he didn't see me. Trying to be rational while so many thoughts rushed through my head, I picked up the phone, said, "Sorry, I dropped my phone. I'm just going to take a shower and call you back." The bathroom is right by my bed, so I hastily walked in, quietly locked the door, turned the shower on, jumped out my window, my apartment is on the first floor, and called the police. They told me to wait nearby but to go to across the street and see if anyone comes out the door to the apartment complex. This was during summer, and it was still light out. I placed myself across the street, hiding behind a car while watching my open bathroom window and the entry door. I called my boyfriend, and he came to me just before the police. I gave them my keys, and they went inside. Only moments later, 2 cops came out holding a thin and tired-looking man. Oh my God, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. He was my ex. His eyes looked crazy, but he didn't try to get away. The policeman that had stood beside me and comforted me while the police searched through my house, I was a mess, shivering and crying, told me that the man stood outside my bathroom door with one of my kitchen knives waiting for me to come out. My ex somehow crept in my entry door while I was getting my mail and hide under the bed. My ex that was trying to hurt me turned out to be a psycho person and was placed in a mental hospital. "3 years ago I met my girlfriend Sydney, but after a long time she was bothering me. She asked me 100 times a day if I loved her or not. I was tired of her and finally I let her go. She also sent me a message and said that she was going to a city. It's gone too far. Take care of yourself, dear, we'll be dating for another 3 years. Then she counted and changed and I thought that I would never see her again. 3 years passed since that incident, and I was in love with another woman. I was promoted in the company and I had forgotten my ex-girlfriend. Everything was going well until that day. There was a knock on my door, and when I opened it, I saw Sydney standing at the door. Her face was mostly scary and her jawline had changed so much that it was as if she had no jaw at all. Her nose was extremely pointed, and I felt that it might pop out of her skin at any moment. From her forehead, her cheeks, and all the parts of her face had changed in an unusual way. It has become like the characters of horror movies. The only way I could recognize her was from the tattoo on her neck that said, "You must love me." Once she jumped to my side, grabbed my neck and shouted, "How do I look? Do you love me anymore?" Her jaw was crooked and she was stuttering as if she could not pronounce words correctly. With shock, I confusedly asked her what is wrong with her, but she kept repeating the same thing over and over again. "Tell me, do you love me or not?" I finally pushed her and went to my house. She was beating hard. I called the police. Apparently, after we broke up, she had done more than 100 illegal cosmetic surgeries, and because of this operation, her appearance had become extremely ugly and scary. Now she's like a zombie in front of me. She was going to the parade and yelled, "What should I do? I'm still not well. Do you want me to change my nose? Or make my eyes bigger?" She screamed like crazy. Then I saw that she had left a note in front of her that said, "Please come to my blood for the last time and then I will leave your life forever." I went to the address she wrote. There was a small old house there. The door was a little open. Through the door, I saw a woman standing in the hall. I opened the door, I thought it was her, and then she shouted, "Do you like the way I look now? Don't you think I'm beautiful? Love me now." But that woman wasn't Sydney. She was a Barbie doll, the size of a real woman. Sydney was holding the doll from behind and pretending to be herself. I was shocked, and then I saw that she was holding a knife in the doll's hand and was coming towards me. She shouted like crazy, "The appearance is not important. It is the heart that is important until she wanted to stab me in the chest. I quickly ran away from there. I was running like crazy. I called the police. The police arrested her, and it turned out that she had a serious mental illness. More terrible than all this was that from doctor. Her beauty wanted to transplant her heart to the body of that doll, when the doctor disagreed with her and told her that I will bring a man to take his heart and attach it to mine. We got married after knowing each other for only 6 months. At the time I was in the army, so while we loved each other, it was also for the monetary benefits that come with being married in the army. That was a huge mistake. She had shown little flashes of being unstable during our courting period, and some red flags were raised, but I went against my gut and just ignored them. After we got married, she got more and more overbearing and possessive, started accusing me of cheating on her and flirting with other girls when she was not around. I've never done anything of the sort. She even flipped out one time when my female cousin texted me asking how I was doing. She would show up at work. I was working in the orderly room for my unit, which is essentially company headquarters. And she'd sit in the parking lot for hours, waiting for me to get off, the entire time texting me asking what I was doing and who I was talking to. She was constantly going through my phone, looking through my text messages and received calls, and I'm not proud to say that some of this rubbed off on me, and I did it to her phone a few times. She liked to go out to the clubs and party like 3 nights a week. In the beginning, I went with her, but that's not really my thing, so I eventually stopped and just let her go by herself. I wasn't happy about it, but she would pitch a fit if she wasn't allowed to relieve stress by going out. She started getting questionable phone calls and texts from different guys after this. I could go on, but the straw that broke the camel's back was one Saturday night. She went out and didn't come back until 6 in the morning, drunk as hell. I had been home all night hanging out with a friend playing video games. She flipped out on me asking who I had slept with last night, who had I been talking to, and ended up attacking me, actually biting a chunk of skin off the inside of my right bicep and pulling some of my hair out. I ended up having to hold her down on the bed as she is screaming at me, threatening to call the cops. She finally calmed down. Something changed after that, though. We parted ways and I moved to another state, but I still regularly get phone calls and texts from her asking to borrow money or come back home.
If you enjoy the video, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to support us, share it to your bestie.